James out of the backfield in motion, leaving Gabriel with an empty set. Gets the snap and gets sacked. Ahmed Hassanin with the sack, his first of the season. First time this season we've seen a true fullback. Crow in front of Genty, Madsen under center. It's from the 3. Handoff Genty. Genty bounces right side and scores! 7th rushing touchdown of the season for Ashton Genty, and he vaults the Broncos in front on a 3-yard run. Crow led the way.
Fired up to be at home on the blue, and I know our team is. Cannot wait to see Bronco Nation this Saturday night. And like I said, our guys did a really good job over the bye week. We're one-on-one, and we learned a lot through these first 2 games, and that was the message to our team is, what did we learn, where are we growing to? Win, loss, however a game goes, it's all about what did we learn and where are we growing to.
Back following a bye, welcome to Jay's Sports Bar. I'm Jay Tust. He's Shane Williams-Rhodes, the former Boise State wide receiver great. And, man, when you played, did you like bye weeks? I mean, I assume the answer is yes.
Bye weeks are a little hit and miss. You know,
Okay.
If you lose going into a bye week, it's terrible. I mean,
Feels like forever before you play a game again.
Yeah, and they're trying to send a message for sure. You're practicing hard. It's just tough. But if you go in with a win, a good win, yeah, you typically a little easier. They try to make some things competitive. You do a lot of competition stuff, but not too much wear and tear.
I'll say this, I love them. Yes, the results impact me, but technically they really don't. So I love bye weeks. This year they get 2 of them.
That is great.
That's
going to be needed.
I think that they should, whatever it takes for this to happen moving forward, I think that should be the plan across college football. I know, talked with Latrell Caples today. He's in favor of it. I feel like it gives the players that mental, that physical rest, both of them, that they really need, and allows guys to maybe get out of town for a day or 2 and go see some family, which is much needed considering how much time you guys devote to this. But hey, coming up today, we still got to recap the Oregon game because we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. We're going to take a look at Pac-12 realignment. Boise State has a new home starting in 2026. We're going to get into the wide receivers, quarterback play, all of that stuff here today on Jay Sports Bar. Let's begin with recapping the Oregon game. I mean, there were so many encouraging things to take away from that contest for me, Shane. Namely, I know Boise State's gone out and competed against big schools in the past. But, man, I watched the UCF game a couple years ago with my own eyes. You knew the avalanche was coming. They got out to a great start, but it didn't feel real. You look at UW last year, hey, first quarter, Boise State's hanging in there. But, again, you just felt the avalanche was coming. I look at the Oregon game. Boise State belonged on that field. Physically, in every way, shape, and form, they belonged on that field with Oregon.
We were the avalanche.
Yeah.
I feel like at no point in the game was I okay, I think they might start pulling away here. At all times, we just seemed like we always were in control of it. We controlled the line of scrimmage. I mean, the times we didn't, we have a great running back who made it happen anyway. But for the most part, I feel like we won in the trenches. We made big plays. It was good all around. Defense played well. Offense played well. But that third phase.
Yeah. Special teams.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to get to that in just a second. But just to finish up this point real quick, I just felt like Boise State, man, I know it didn't say so on the scoreboard, and I know there are no moral victories, but I do felt like they were the better team ready to go that day. Oregon just has a $20 million payroll to fund the guys on their team. And I actually kind of broke this down afterwards, Shane. My intent was to talk about NIL and the value of Oregon's roster, but there are so many conflicting reports about what guys are getting. So just another way to look at it. Oregon's got 6 5-star guys, 54 4-star guys. Boise State's got 1 5-star, 1 4-star, both of them barely played or didn't play. You know what I mean? So there's some difference there in terms of at least talent coming out of high school on a roster. But I just said that, man, Boise State built a better team. I felt like they were so close to getting that game. Now, getting back to the point that you just kind of brought up there for a second, one of my biggest takeaways from the game is it could have felt like a moral victory, but it didn't. The guys, man, they were dejected coming off that field. And I thought that said something about the team. That feeling coming off, no, those guys thought they could have won, and they should have won.
Yeah. I mean, even if you hear all the people on TV, everyone said it. It's just it didn't feel like Boise State lost that game. The score did not show how that game was.
And the good thing about it, and again, talking with Latrell Caples this week, and he brought this up about the bye. The reason why it's nice to have 2 byes, he said, man, they have every intention of going and playing in the college football playoff. And if they do that, this season becomes a lot longer than just a normal season, right? Yeah. They didn't necessarily lose anything, in my opinion, when it came to their outlook of playing in the college football playoff. Because now moving forward, Boise State should be favored in every single game the rest of the way. Yeah. Which means if they take care of business for the next 10 weeks, they'll be sitting at the end of this thing in an outstanding spot to be that group of 5 team that goes and plays in the college football playoff, despite a close loss at Oregon. If anything, man, I really do think nationally, again, I'm not talking about you, Bronco Nation, or the players or the coaches, but I think nationally, all of a sudden people go, oh, okay, yeah, this Boise State team actually is for real. I think it got him. Yeah. I think it got him some credibility out of it.
We move up in the polls, and then now, obviously, we want Oregon to keep winning.
Yeah.
But if you look at how Oregon's games have been, they've gotten better every week.
They smashed Oregon State this last week, and Boise State's on a bye. The Ducks go over to Corvallis and absolutely hammer the Beavers.
So I think if you're an Oregon fan, you're seeing exactly what you want. They're figuring out who they are, because obviously a lot of their team is transfers. So they're trying to figure out how to gel together, how to play together. So if we can get Oregon playing their best ball week 6 and 7, that's going to be great for us, because if they're going through and if they can pull off a win versus Ohio State,
now we're talking.
It just looks even better for us.
Yes.
So we need those kind of things to happen. So unfortunately, we have to cheer for Oregon. But, yeah, we got to take care of business. But we've been in this situation before, and it's really hard to win 10 games in a row.
It is. You guys,
really hard.
You did it one year, though.
It's really hard. And we had multiple close ones. You have a Nevada game, 3 points. You had a New Mexico game, 7 points. You have, teams that you're supposed to, cover that spread. We were not covering spreads. We were finding ways to win. So it's going to be a lot of that.
That's what Spencer Danielson continues to say. Good teams find a way to win games. And at the end of the day, that's what you have to do. They came up a little bit short because they were a lot of bit short in special teams. Yes. We were talking, just before the show here. I'm sure there are worse ways. I'm trying to figure out what they are to lose a football game, and allowing 2 special teams touchdowns. That's got to be really high at the top of that list.
Yeah, well, I think you said it. There hasn't been anyone probably in the last 10 years that turned 2 kicks.
Yeah, that's what. Looking it up, did a little bit of research. Last year, it did happen in one game. One time did it happen in a game, but in that game, the punt return was actually a blocked punt that was recovered in the end zone.
It's just, 10 years worth of games, and we get that one. Even if he goes down to 20, I think the defense holds to a field goal. We played great on defense. It's tough looking back at that game.
It is tough. But, looking back on the game, Spencer Danielson and the staff had a week or so to do it, and this is what he had to say about how they have to take a big step on special teams.
First off, leverage across the board. And what I mean by that is if I'm running down on punt or I'm running down on kickoff, and if I'm a right shoulder leverage, if you have the ball, BJ, if I'm running down, I'm a right shoulder leverage. So I'm counting on all the rest of my teammates are counting on me keeping that ball on my right shoulder. If all of a sudden I work away from that leverage, it cuts off the rest of our defense. Leverage was through the roof. On the kickoff, there's 4 guys unblocked to make this tackle, and he cuts back on us, and 3 guys lose their leverage. Once again, it's on me as the head coach. We obviously didn't do a good enough job repping it. I've been open about the fact Stacey Collins is the best special teams coordinator in the country. I will stand on that, no questions asked. We got to make sure our urgency from practice to performing in practice on these special teams unit to guys that are the scout look on special teams. If I'm the kickoff return unit going against our kickoff team, that look has to be the same look as if we're playing on Saturday night. No different on offense and defense. But leverage was the biggest thing that showed up. You hate to lose a game and have to have that pain to use that as fuel, but it did. And it wasn't the only reason we lost that game, but it obviously had a huge part in it. 14 points is a huge part. And so the leverage, making sure the right guys are in the right spots, especially on our cover units, and continue to grow our specialists to make sure we can kick that ball out. That's the luxury that some schools have is they know their kicker's going to kick it out of the end zone every time.
Shane, coming into this season, there was such a big emphasis on improving on special teams. It is the weirdest thing to talk about because when you talk about special teams, you are including your punter and you are including your kicker. And Boise State's got two of the best in the country when it comes to those two things. Yeah. You know, those guys didn't have the best night, I would say, in Eugene, and there was a particular punt that was low, and, you know, Oregon got a good return out of it. At the same time, though, I mean, this comes down to what football is all about. Tackling a guy on a football field, not allowing him to go 85 yards.
The Jimmys and Joes.
Right? And hey, credit to Oregon, because they went out and they got it done, right? Like, they went out, and this is something that I think Boise State's going to have to face the rest of the season, right?
Yeah.
Now that Oregon put that out there, there are going to be teams that are going to be like, no, that might be a point where we actually might be able to make up a little ground against Boise State. And that might be our competitive advantage against a team that's way better than us, talking about Boise State, right? And so now they're going to have to figure it out because there are teams that are going to take it out of the end zone. And I'm not, hey, Shane, there's one team that in particular that worries me, and it's the most because it's a conference game. UNLV has a hell of a returner, both in the punt and kickoff return game. Barry Odom emphasizes the hell out of special teams. A lot of his starters play special teams. And as that program continues to grow, and you look at everything that else is going on right now, Boise State's got to figure it out this weekend, but they better figure it out before they go to UNLV in a month or so.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 because when you're doing kickoff and punt, you think about trying to get some of those starters off the field to give them that rest. But then, obviously, you're putting in a younger guy who doesn't play much, so you're thinking, okay, he's going to be 100% ready to go. But that guy is not as good as your starter. So you have that for your catch-22.
Yep.
The flip side I was thinking about, I was like, how many times have we actually punted before that punt on the season? We haven't punted the ball a lot.
Not a lot.
There hasn't been a lot of
James Ferguson Reynolds has had one in the season opener.
We haven't punted the ball a lot. There hasn't been a lot of punt coverage. So obviously there's definitely a possibility we are not in the right spots. But we had a shot. I think it was either a gunner or a long snapper. Someone had a shot on the punt returner, but once he took that lateral movement and made that one miss, it was all downhill.
Unfortunately, that's the tough thing too. When you say, so you put a younger guy in, right? That guy wants to make a play so freaking bad, right? And so that can be the difference of getting out of your lane just enough.
Yep.
And it makes the difference in a ball game. And one thing I'll say, there was also a controversial play in terms of on the kickoff return, the guy released the ball right before going into the goal line. An Oregon player recovered it in the end zone. Yeah. So at the end of the day, yes, he did fumble it, but it really didn't matter because Oregon still recovered that fumble for a touchdown.
As a person who did not attend the game and had to watch on TV, they did a terrible job of
explaining that?
Facilitating that.
Yeah.
They show it to us, we see it, but they don't show us the video all the way through that. And then the announcers are thinking, oh, yeah, touchback, and then boom, they just come out, run a play. And it was quick. It was no time taken.
So that was the actual explanation on that. The other controversial call surrounded Alexander Tubner, was ejected for a targeting call. Boise State appealed that. They actually won that appeal, so Tubner will be able to play in the first half against Portland State. The only thing that kind of sucks about that is there's nothing retroactive. Yeah. And 3 plays after Tubner went out,
touchdown.
59-yard touchdown over the middle from Oregon.
I was just going to say, I feel like in the second half, that played a big role.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of your dudes.
Yeah, it's one of your dudes. And there are so many people with their opinions about Alexander Tubner, and I'm not going to lie, some of you drive me crazy because Alexander Tubner, he's one of the toughest, most dedicated players on the team. His leadership skills are off the charts. We talk about pound for pound strength with Ashton Genty. In terms of what any player over there extracts from what God gave him, man, Alexander Tubner is at the top of that list. And to just make something tangible about this, he wears the green dot on the back of his helmet. New this year, in-helmet communication is allowed between a player and a coach, and on defense, Alexander Tubner is that guy. Now, Zion Washington became that guy, and he showed that he was ready for that responsibility because Zion played fantastic. 11 tackles, a career high, had a half tackle for loss. I'm fighting for him, by the way, because they gave that half tackle for loss to somebody else. So it says he only has 10 tackles. I'm trying to get you the 11th tackle and the half tackle for loss, Zion. But I just felt like that Boise State was in a pretty good rhythm outside of 2 big pass plays at that point in time in the game. And getting Tubes out of there, I do think. I mean, they scored 3 on a 59-yard touchdown 3 plays later.
A lot of people, you see it on Twitter or X. I got to be politically correct now. They say, well, he's a run safety. He's always involved in the run game.
Yeah.
Yes, but when his job is to be deep, there's not often where you see him out of place. And so just being in place, maybe he's not making an interception, but he's creating. He's helping creating something that's allowing them to, okay, I can't throw it there, I have to look somewhere else.
Yes.
So now maybe it's a 10-yard gain instead of a 59-yard touchdown.
And one thing I'll say this too, and I think this happened on one of the touchdowns where somebody ends up out of place and there's another guy that's closest to the football that looks like he's at fault for allowing the play to happen, when there was another guy that, again, wasn't anywhere near the play that probably should have been in another spot to, prevent that from happening. Tubes you can count on is always going to be in the right place.
Yeah.
So at times, there might be a time where it looks like he might have been burnt.
Yeah.
I'm just going to guess somebody else.
That's life of a DB. I mean,
the life of the DB.
People don't understand. You see number 1 receiver go vertical, number 2 receiver come out, and guys like, okay, the corner, he's got hands on the number 1 receiver, and then he just lets him go, and then the safety doesn't get over top. People are like, well, why did the corner not just cover him? Well, that's not his job.
It's not his job.
So it's just, It
takes 11 guys to play good defense.
It's all about the scheme.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back over to offense now because I want to talk about Maddox Matson and this wide receiver core. Cam Camper, the Indiana transfer, he's gotten off to a pretty good start. Like, I don't think either of his numbers from the first 2 games are going to, blow you away. But let's project him out over a full season, and he's on pace for right around 50 catches for 982 yards. I mean, he's threatening 1,000 yards.
He's consistent.
Boise State will take that.
Consistent and reliable.
Yeah, right?
That's what I feel like you're getting at.
Latrell Caples, you just described him too there. He's on pace for about 60 catches and, I think it was 858 yards. So those 2 guys have played well. Let's focus on the quarterback for a minute here. Maddox Matson starts the game 12 of 19 for 115 yards. Talk about just exactly what they need out of Maddox Matson to go on the road and win, and he was doing it.
Yeah.
He ends the game though 17 of 40, and that meant from his nice start, he finishes 5 of 21 from there on out.
Yeah.
I don't know I know you didn't get a chance to go to this game, but from what you saw, what do you think? How would you assess the passing game right now?
I feel like in the first half, the box was a little bit more open than it was in the second. And so we're just running it down their throat. But in the second half, with them stacking a little bit more and sending a few more blitzes, we found ourselves behind the chains.
Yep.
So when we found ourselves behind the chains, they, obviously you don't have to blitz, you don't have to stack as much. So now they're playing coverage. Now, I don't know if everyone knows, but Oregon has a very good set of defensive backs. So obviously now he's playing the numbers game on top of them knowing that he's got to throw it. I mean, it's 3rd and 8. As much as I love Ashton Genty, I don't think we're running the ball on 3rd and 8. No. So now he's playing against that. And so now that might be a factor. Or they might decide, okay, we're just going to send the pressure anyway on 3rd and 8. And now they're sending pressure, so now he's got to get it out hot. Well, they teach the D linemen, if we're blitzing backers, to get your hands up because it's going to be a quick throw.
Right.
And they're teaching DBs sit on everything because he's not going to have time to get out of there.
Right.
So he's going against that, which we saw. He got a few passes batted down the line. And it's a lot of factors in there. It's tough. Being behind the sticks is like the worst thing in football.
Yeah, and that's why up until this point, Shane, I've been saying this for a while now, but it's why Maddox Matson is the best quarterback for this team is because for the most part, he doesn't get behind the chains because he doesn't take sacks. He's taken 1 sack this season. It was a 1-yard loss in the second half of the Oregon game. He was on 3rd down, felt some pressure, tried to step up at the last second, kind of got knocked from the side, went down for a 1-yard loss. That is the only sack he has taken all season because he gets the ball out quickly. And for the most part, if you're not behind the chains, it means your run game is always a threat. Yep. And when you have Ashton Genty and Sire Gaines and some of these running backs, I don't know what more you'd want out of your offense than making sure that those guys are a constant threat for you.
I think our formula right now is as good as you can ask for. You go through the first few games and you're able to establish the run. You're able to control the line of scrimmage. Your quick game has been pretty accurate. That's literally the rules of football.
Yeah.
Typically you do those things and you don't turn the ball over, which you've done pretty good at too. Then you win the game.
Yeah. don't want to go too far into this stuff, but like Maddox had a really good practice, and I'll just leave it at that, this week. So he did. He looked really, really sharp, and I'm just going to go there and leave it at that. And I just want to be.
The speculation.
I want to be surprised if he just has a good game this weekend. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. Talking about the wide receivers, and before I get your take on it, I want to get Spencer Danielson's take on it because there's a topic that came up this week. Are the wide receivers as a whole creating enough separation to make life easy in the passing game? And this is what Spencer had to say earlier this week.
First off, very proud of our offensive line protecting that game. We had to create a lot of different looks, especially with Roger going down, play 3 of the game. First off, there are some decision makings for Maddox, but Maddox has done a good job through 2 games. Still a lot to continue to grow and improve on. We got to have some receivers that can go win a one-on-one too. And there's a lot, and I showed our team. There's some clips on film where I asked the team, where do you think Maddox should go with the ball here? Because everybody, when I'm looking at, is covered. We got to find ways to create one. We got to go win one-on-ones. We got a great group of receivers that do work their tails off. We need to take a big step. And Coach Miller does a really good job with those guys. And now it's, okay, if I want to be in a situation to make the big catch in a game or have the yards that I want in a game, I have to perform that way in practice. If I can't make that catch or create separation in practice, as a coach, I cannot put you in that situation. And that's my message to the receivers and anybody else on our team. With 115 guys on a football team, there's a lot of guys that want more reps, special teams, offense, defense, receivers, want the ball more. You have to perform in practice. And guys that do that will get opportunities. And then what they do with that opportunity on Saturday night will either turn into more opportunities or less. But that's where I look to everything. It's all about what I do in practice. That gives you and earns you the right to have an opportunity to do in the game. And then at that point, we evaluate the game to see where we're going from there.
So I brought up Cam Camper and I brought up Latrell Caples. And I feel like those guys have brought something to this offense. We haven't seen, for one reason or the other, by the way, we haven't seen the Prince Strong that had this awesome camp. And I know his time is coming, but we haven't seen that. We haven't seen the explosive downfield plays from like an Austin Bull yet. He got a few catches over the middle against Oregon, but it just, for the expectations we had for this group going into the season, as one of the best to ever do it there, man, how do you feel like that group's playing?
I think it goes back to kind of what we talked about with being behind the sticks. So being predominantly run team, obviously opportunities are a little bit limited. And having so many receivers, like we said on the first podcast, this is probably the deepest I've seen us in a while. As far as like just having a consistent receiver that can we have about 4 or 5 we can just throw out there.
Yeah.
So you got that. You got the numbers game. We're a run team. So opportunities are limited. Reps are limited. So I don't feel like we have a rhythm yet. Because I've said it, I was still trying to figure out what our identity is as a pass game, because even when in the Oregon game, on 3rd down, it was usually 3rd and long. It was 3rd and short, we ran it. And if it was 3rd and long, we had to throw it. But that's not really you're not in your identity on 3rd and long, you're just playing the sticks.
I think so. When Khalil Shakir was here, the passing game identity was get Khalil Shakir the football, right? Boise State, in all honesty, when Boise State is good on offense, they usually have a number 1 wide receiver, whether it be Matt Miller or Thomas Spurbeck or Shane Williams-Rhodes or Khalil Shakir, Cedric Wilson. Those guys were dudes, and we're talking about guys that would threaten 1,000 yards in a season. And, they do a lot of personnel matchings and stuff right now, and I know that you want to do that to, try to remain unpredictable, because if, you always bring Shane Williams-Rhodes out there to run one route, well, guess what's going to happen when Shane Williams-Rhodes goes out there? They're sitting on that route. And so, now if you rotate him with somebody else, like maybe it keeps it more unpredictable, right? Yeah. But I don't know, who do you think is the dude? Like, who's the wide receiver that you want to see become the dude on offense? That, like, hey, 3rd and 8, that's the guy we're creating for.
I feel like he's put his time in. I feel like Caples deserves it.
Yeah.
He's been here. He's put in the work. He's been behind Shakir. He was here the other day. So he's here behind McAllister. He's just put in the work. I feel like it's his time to kind of just go.
I agree. And his time has arrived. And it's going to be even more so here as they move into, the meat and potatoes of the season or the schedule or whatever. But, talking with Latrell this week, I think that one thing really stood out to me. Asked him what he did during the bye week. What do you think he did during the bye week?
Did he go hiking?
Nope.
What did he do?
Stayed right here in the training room, took care of himself.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, man, what about younger Latrell Caples? Would he have done that? No. No. Came here all about work, all about business, right?
Yeah.
And I love that about him. And coaches, coming into the season talked about how much he matured and he grew and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. He went through his injuries and all this stuff. And man, it changed him probably for the better. And things might seem like they're unfair or whatever when you got to go through them, but man, he's changed for the better for sure. And I think he's on, like I mentioned, his numbers. He's on pace for almost 900 yards. Camper's on pace for almost 1,000 yards. If those guys can do that over the length of a full schedule, doing what we know Ashton Jeanty's able to do, this offense is going to do more than enough game in and game out to give this team a chance to win a football game.
Yeah, I'm hoping, with this week, we come out, Jeanty gets about 15 carries, let him go for about 175, take him out. Mm-hmm. Put in our, the young bucks, let them run around. But I think then at that point, let's work on the pass game.
Yeah, and that's as we shift towards to kind of preview Portland State. You're going up against an FCS school. Mm-hmm. No, you can't overlook them. I get it. Your opponents are faceless and nameless and all this, stuff you got to spew because you don't want your players to overlook them. I get it. Okay, but it is still an FCS school in Portland State. So not only do you want to come out and be dominant against them, but this is not the way Boise State's looking at it, but this is the way that I'm going to look at it. It's I don't want to call it a glorified scrimmage.
Oh, I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, right. I don't want to call it that. That's too demeaning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, given what's going on over there, it kind of is.
But it is. This is a chance for you to go against some. Dude, if it was equal competition, all those guys would be, at a Power 5 or Group of 5 school, and they're not. They're an FC school. It's not to say they don't have talented players.
They might not even have the whole team, with everything going on.
Whooping cough and all that stuff. Yeah, their game gets canceled last week because there's an outbreak of whooping cough. The game's going to take place this Saturday, and it's funny, man. I know Boise State officials are scrambling. They're, looking at other opponents, and on Sunday and Monday they came to the conclusion they put protocols in place. They would all finish protocols, or at least enough will finish protocols by game time on Saturday. Game's still going to be played here in Boise. But this it does provide you an opportunity, though, to maybe dig into some of your weaknesses and improve them. Because, hey, next week Washington State's coming. I watched Apple Cup. It's my alma mater.
Someone got a little happy this weekend, huh?
Well, after the game, Jake Dickert said something along the lines of, we didn't want to win this game because we hated them. We wanted to win it because we love us. Well, I'm sorry, Jake. I'm kind of the exact opposite, buddy. I'm just not, is
that the last one?
No, it's on the schedule for a couple more years. I think through 2028 and beyond that, we don't really know.
Okay.
But now, man, talk about another team that looked like the best team. It was Washington State. Anyways, I know we're not here to talk about that. But either way, they loom. So you have to get better in some of your whatever your perceived weaknesses are before that game, because, Washington State's knocking on the door of the top 25 just like Boise State is right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game for sure. I'm looking forward to that one.
I am too. Sold out. How about this? Boise State has now sold out their first 3 games of the season. They just announced it today. Portland State, an FCS school at 8 o'clock at night, sold out. That might be the biggest feat ever.
It's 2 in a row, right? 8 o'clock?
I think it's more than that, because technically Oregon kicked off late. Portland State's kicking off late. Washington State's kicking off late. We don't know the exact TV channel yet, but we know the time. Utah State's a late one. Jeez. So, yeah, get ready. Sloan's going to have to get, you guys have to get a babysitter.
Yeah, she likes going to the tailgate.
Oh, she does? She's getting old enough now. What am I saying?
Big tailgater, she is.
Okay. How old is she now?
5.
5. See, that's old enough to stay up a little late.
Yeah, she's got her own little posse out there. I can't,
Just running the show?
Oh, yeah.
Takes after mom?
For sure. For sure.
I love that. All right, let's finish this up here. When it comes to the Portland State game, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions? What do you think is worth putting out there?
I think the biggest thing we have to limit Jeanty's carries.
Yeah.
We got a long season, and he's going to have a lot of carries.
Yep.
I think you get 12 to 15. I know it could hurt the Heisman campaign, but with 12 to 15, he should be able to get 160.
It's so funny, man.
You got to play the game, though.
You got to play the game.
If we want a Heisman, He has to have, it's a standard.
Yeah.
You can't have a 70-yard game
Against that
Portland
FCS
State.
school, yeah.
Yeah, so you can't go 12 for 70, even though that's like 5 yards a carry almost or something like that. You can't do that. You have to have, 120, 260. You got to be consistent.
To counter my point of saying glorified scrimmage too, I would say like one of his least efficient games last year was actually against North Dakota, the FCS school. And when you kind of look at the amount of carries he had and the amount of yards he had, I really hate saying that about Ashton Jeanty because he's so freaking good, by the way. But he's put up such phenomenal numbers that, So don't overlook the FCS school. But you're right, man. You feel like if he gets 15, picks up $175,
get him out of there.
Maybe a couple touchdowns, get him out of there, and let Zaire Gaines and Dylan Riley and Tyler Crow and all those other guys kind of eat for a little bit.
Just let him go.
You want to go a final score prediction? Is it worth it? You got a star player?
I think we're gonna score 50 points.
I think we're gonna score 50 points.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go 61. I think we're gonna hang 60 burger.
What are we at? We're at 45, 34. Is that how many points we scored in 2 games?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Season opener 56.
56.
And then 34 against Oregon.
Yeah, we'll be in the 50s.
Yeah.
We'll be in the 50s.
If
I think they'll
that,
call the dogs off a little bit and start trying to work on some things, so we won't keep scoring, but I think 50s for sure.
Well, again, other things that coaches won't admit, and that's fine. And don't take this too literally too, but like if you can save a few snaps on some of your starters' bodies prior to going into not only Washington State but conference play looming, you're going to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah, you're going to do it. All right, Shane. We appreciate it as always, my friend. Boise State going to hang 50 on Portland State this weekend. Another fun edition of Jay's Sports Bar. For Shane Williams-Rhodes, I'm Jay Tust. This is Jay's Sports Bar, serving the Idaho sports community.
Opponents we play, nameless and faceless, we got to grow every single week. I met with our leadership group this morning. It was like, hey guys, we've learned a lot through 2 games. We know who we are. We know each position group. We know who we are as players. How do we not have to make the same mistake twice? Learn and grow and keep pushing forward. So cannot wait to get in front of Bronco Nation on the blue.